All right. So
Did you hear that?
yeah. So hold on, I gotta click off it real quick. Got it.
Yeah.
All
Then
right.
just identify however you want and take over.
Oh, my name's Trevor. I'm an addict and an alcoholic. When I was growing up, I did not play tackle football. But I told everyone I did. I was in elementary school and I had this whole elaborate story I came up with, convincing all my friends who didn't play that I played tackle football for 2 or 3 years in Pop Warner. And I never ever came clean about admitting that I didn't play football. It never was an issue down the road. I stuck to that story. So I learned how to lie at an early age and how to keep the lie going. And, that was the start of it. I'm a master manipulator. I learned when I went to, it was a combined high school and middle school. And I used to hang out in the library. Once my friends left after middle school to actually go play football, I was scared. I didn't want to go to a regular high school. I heard about all the fights and everything. And I was scared. I was scared of getting in fights. I wasn't I was a little skinny kid. And, I had a skinny ass dad, alcoholic dad, a mom who was, unloving, non-caring. I pretty much grew up in a house of purgatory. And so I didn't have any self-confidence. I always wanted to be like everyone else. When all my friends left to go to regular high schools, I stayed at the academic school and ended up hanging out in the library with like 3 or 4 different guys for the first half of ninth grade because we were the only friends we had. Um, Realized really quick, lo and behold, got a report card one day and got straight A's, and everybody found out. And man, I was the most popular kid in school. And and in this high school, I grew up in Cerritos. The white male was the minority. It's just the way it was. Most of my friends were Asian, Filipino, um, and Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Indian, and their parents put a lot of pressure on them to do well in school. And my parents didn't put pressure on me to do anything, and my friends' parents put pressure on them. My Caucasian friends' parents put pressure on them to play sports, and just pretty much just hang out, just do whatever they want. But these kids were under so much stress and so much pressure. When they found out I got straight A's, I became, I made a lot of friends. And I had the moms of their daughters found out, and I would get invited over to help them tutor them in math and science, and I get free dinners all the time. So I was pretty much, home 4 or 5 days a week and out eating free dinners 2 days a week, and that's how I got to know people and we made friends and left the library and started hanging out in some cliques. And I was still uncomfortable though. I always wanted to be them. I wanted to be my friends. I looked up to them. They were popular. They were break dancers. They had all kinds of girls hanging around them, just friends. But I wanted that. And, I figured if kept getting the good grades and whatever it took, I'd have those friends. And, it was a small high school. We all became pretty close. And 11th grade, between summer and 11th and 12th grade, my alcoholic dad decided to take me and my best friend, Chad, camping. Well, my friend Chad brought a little bit of weed. So, my first experience with that. And my dad would pass out at 8 o'clock every night from drinking all day. Just, he'd be up at 6, but pass out, or 5 or 6, but pass out, just sleep, just from drinking beer all day. So, but couldn't drink my dad's beer. He'd be pissed. He knew how many beers he had left. So we got the bright idea. We'd raid ice chests around the campgrounds. And so we went ice chest raiding and pretty much smoked weed and met some girls and just partied every single night after 8 o'clock in the motorhome because my dad wasn't moving. So senior year, my friend and I were already drinking. Another friend of mine found out that he was drinking when he was at work, working at Disneyland. He would bring drinks in, and so the three of us teamed up, and we just started partying throughout our senior year. And other people found out they were doing some partying, and everyone just started hanging out and drinking on the weekends here and there. No one ever got in trouble. No one was drinking and driving. We'd always spend the night at someone's house or in our cars, and that's when all the partying started. And that was a little bit of weed here and there, but mostly drinking. Went to UC Santa Barbara College, same thing, weed and drinks. Never saw any hard drugs till I was about 23 years old. I moved to Belmont Shore in Long Beach, and when I was 19, I moved out. and got my own apartment, and lied about my age and got a job as a bouncer and a bartender at a local bar on Second Street. So, meeting all kinds of people. I was the bouncer, I was the bartender. I mean, there we go again. Mr. Popular, right? Because all these people like me, they love me. I've got all these friends now, and I had all these friends because I was always at the bar giving out free beers and saying hi to people as they're coming in. They're just bar acquaintances, but I thought they were my friends, and I did have some friends that I worked with that lived down there. They were actually friends, but I was on that street for 6 years straight. 23 years old, I did my first line of cocaine in the back storeroom of a bar down on Second Street, and didn't really do a whole lot to me. I did a few more bumps, lines here and there over the next few weeks, and all of a sudden I found out, no, I didn't know anyone was doing cocaine. I didn't know people were using hard drugs until I started using some hard drugs with someone. Then I realized everyone I knew practically was on coke. They kept it from me because I wasn't part of the clique yet. But once I got part of the clique, boy, it was amazing how many people were partying. And we used to party from Monday, sometimes till Saturday night, and just pass out on the couch Sunday and just to recover. Couldn't move, couldn't eat, just like a zombie, and go to work the next Monday like nothing happened. And I was able to do that on Second Street for 5 or 6, 7 years straight. Never missed a day of work. We would get half days on Fridays, so we would always all fight whose half day it was, because half of us would stay and half of us would take the day off. And man, just party your ass off on Thursday knowing you only had to work till noon. You were up till 2, 3 in the morning, sometimes 5. Sometimes we would actually walk out the bar at 6:30 in the morning, and the sun would be up, go home, take a shower, sleep for a half hour, and go to work. Nobody knew, because we always got our work done. We were the workhorses of the office. Being a few of my friends who weren't doing cocaine, by the way, I was the only one on hard drugs. They would just drink once in a while. My work friends did not do hard drugs whatsoever. And I hid the hard drugs for years. Got married when I was 26, put the drugs down for a considerable amount of time. And I might have used once here and there if I ran into someone or went down to Second Street. I don't recall. But I started, so I got off the street, which was good. I think a lot of us did. Our drug bar closed. The bar we used to all hang out and do drugs that was sold. So everyone kind of went their own separate ways. And that was a good thing, because that was going to lead us, no good. Real soon, someone was going to get sick. Someone was going to overdose. Someone was going to go to jail, or we all were. And so I think the bar closed just at the right time. And I got married. I drank here and there, but I stayed off the hard drugs for quite a long time. And then and I think in my 30s, I started working at a bar in my neighborhood and met someone that had coke, and became a closet coke addict. I was able to go work from 3, 4 in the morning, get to work early, get all my work done, get off at 12, 1, 2, go hit my friend's garage, have some drinks, and go home and do some coke, and go to bed at 8 o'clock because I had too much to drink, wake up the next day, and I was fine. And I wasn't doing it every day. I was able to, quote, if there's any such thing, manage the addiction for a while. It didn't really manifest itself to the levels that it did for years. But soon enough, the drugs were starting to affect me, and I felt really bad about doing them. And I called one of my closest friends and said, "Look, man, I got a cocaine habit, man. I need some help." He came over and I broke it to my wife. Obviously, she was upset, but supportive. I started going to meetings. I met my first sponsor there, Derek, and I think I was able to, just on self-will and not really working a program, going to meetings here and there. I think I got like 8.5, 9 months my first try. And then I relapsed, and then I got another 7, 8 months, or 5 or 6 months, and then I relapsed. Then my sponsor wanted me to the first relapse, I didn't tell my wife. They sponsored direction, that's, we're not going to tell, we're just going to keep going. They wanted me to tell my wife, and it pissed me off, and I eventually did tell her. And, my poor ex-wife, she lived through the relapses for the rest of the marriage, basically. I was able to get blocks of time when I was clean and sober. I don't know. I've never had a year. since that time. I've never had a year. I've lied about having a year once or twice, but I've never had a year clean. And then, of course, the amount of time keeps diminishing, right? I'd get 8 or 9 or 10 months, got 11 once. Then all of a sudden, you're getting 4 or 5 or 6 months. Then you're getting 1, 2, or 3 months, and then it just gets worse and worse. And so I remember it was the holiday season, and I used again, and my wife found out, and she was a real private person. She didn't want anyone to know, and I was so concerned. I was more concerned about her telling everyone and everyone finding out than I was cleaning my act up and participating in recovery. I didn't go to a lot of meetings. I didn't do the work I needed to do. I didn't have a higher power. I didn't dig into the program, and for a lot of different reasons, but just the way I acted because of my addiction over the years. I was distant. She was the best wife ever, but she was. She did everything for us. The best mom for my son who's autistic I can ever ask for. She forgave me over and over and over. She came back from Boston one time and I told her I used, and I think she said, "Go fuck yourself." That's the first and last time she's ever even said anything like that to me, and I deserve so much worse. We just never argued. She's not we've argued over other stuff, but the drugs, she's been, it hurts, but she's never been super, super mean about it, at least not for any type of a long period of time. She just put up with a lot, and even as my ex-wife, and I'll get to that, she's put up with even more. We got divorced eventually. We moved on. We were still, when we weren't arguing over other issues, we still, we're cordial. We talk, we support each other, and she's always been supportive of me. Well, the thing that started, I think my addiction was at maybe a 1.5 at that point. I never missed a day of work. I'd planned my using around vacations and around sick days. Like, hey, I tell my staff, because I was a manager, hey, I'm not going to be there tomorrow. I'm going to take the day off. I've been working my ass off. And I'd come in for 2 or 3 hours anyways, just to make it look good. And then I'd go out and party all day. I was able to manipulate the people that cared about me, my job, my workers. No one had any. Everyone drank. They knew we drank and we got drunk once in a while, but never to where anyone would be concerned or had a reason to worry. And then COVID hit, so I was able to work from home we had to work from home. I hate working from home. Even though we could, I always like going to the office. I like seeing my friends there. I like interacting with the people there. I like bouncing around the office and just, running the coffee machine, getting coffee, going to 7-Eleven, seeing everybody there. I just had it down. Like I had the system down. My friends ran one team of staff. I ran 2. I also had a side business I ran from there. I was just able to be in a groove when I was there from the time I got there to the time I left. And I was able to just figure it out, and but when COVID hit and I was home all day, it was just an excuse to get high. And that's when I started using meth, and because I couldn't get coke all the time, so I started using meth, and that just really fucked me up bad. I did show up to a Zoom meeting with my co-managers and our boss at that time, who became our boss, after getting high the day before. And I don't recover from a meth high in one day. I still feel like I'm on it. I'm still agitated. I'm still fidgety. And, it just got worse from there. And I couldn't get 2-3 months clean. Again, I don't remember. I've had 26 relapses since I started this program 14 and a half years ago. And this is how I count a relapse. If I say I'm done and I'm not using it anymore, and I get a day or 2 and I go use it again, that's a relapse. To me, you said you were done. You told you're going to a meeting again, you're back, and you go back out, even if it's 2 days later, I count that. Because, I said I was done, right? So it's on me. And so it's, I've had 26 relapses that I've counted since I've started this program. How I've been able to keep track of that, I have no fucking idea, but that's the number in my head. I'll stick to it. I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is. And so fast forward to July 2021. I couldn't get 2 days. I didn't care. My friends were pissed. I don't want to say that they were just upset. They're worried. They're concerned. They're angry. They're all the emotions you can ever imagine. Different friends had different emotions. I have some really, I've known my friends for 32 years. We all work together. We're like family. We grew up going to kids' parties, having fun, birthday parties, Christmases. We hang out with different friends for Thanksgiving. I knew these people for years, and I just couldn't get clean, and so I decided I called a rehab place like middle of July, and I said, can I reserve a bed for like 11 days from now? Because I wanted 11 days to try to get my shit in order that wasn't in order because, pretty much I'm not using, and I want to make sure all my bills are paid and everything was so perfect. Like I was going to be able to do that anyways while using, right? But that's where my mind went. Well, just give me, I'll be there in 11 days. Save that fucking bed for me. I'll see you guys in 11 days. And I called my sponsor. He said, well, they have a bed available. I'm like, yeah, but I couldn't take it because I'm not ready. He's like, are you fucking kidding me? He's like, that bed's a gift. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? It's a business. I'll go there. I'll go there anytime I want. I mean, they're gonna make money off of me, right? Of course, I'm doing them a favor by going, right, because they could use all the business they can get, and they're gonna get a real addict who has a lot of trouble here and a lot of problems. So I'm doing them a favor, and don't worry, Sean, I'll stop using. I'll be good. No, of course that didn't happen, and so. On the 26th of July, the day before my birthday, I was calling all day, and I had it used, and I couldn't get them to answer the phone because they're busy, and I know that because I actually ended up going there. So I figured, you know what? I want my clean date to be my birthday. How fucking cool would that be? So I'm gonna get high again today. Fuck it, because I'm gonna probably get the call tomorrow. So let's score again. Let's get high, because how fucking cool would it be to have my birthday on my clean day, 2 birthdays on one day? That's what my thinking was, and so I went to rehab, and I lost my girlfriend the month before we broke up. And it's not just the drugs it's the way I act, because if I'm always tired because I'm sleeping on the couch because I want to do shit because I did drugs. It's just the arrogance, the selfishness, it's all about me, and just the way I act when I'm on drugs. It's nuts. I'm not proud of it. I act amok and I do things I'm not proud of. And my girlfriend put up with a lot, and she stuck by me. And 2 things that upset her the most: I never told her that I was an addict when we first met, and that I'd been to another rehab before, but I don't count Betty Ford. 16 days. I mean, that was a fucking vacation. We could use the phones, the computers, watch TV, fucking watching basketball. We watched a few videos and heard a couple people speak, but I mean, I just came home after 16 days. I thought I had it. So, but I went to a real recovery place this time, and suggested by people in my home group, Impact in Pasadena. Man, the real fucking deal, man. I walked into this place when I got there after I got checked in. They call it the pit where all the guys hang out in, and I think I didn't know what to expect. I'm around a bunch of drug addicts, and I'm thinking, are there going to be fights, or just going to be have to defend myself? I got to let them watch my back. I mean, I just didn't know. I mean, ended up meeting some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life. They're super cool. They want to change their lives. People would approach you and introduce themselves, and I mean, it was just amazing. And the first 2 weeks there, man, I was just super fucking depressed, and nothing would just get me out of it. I was so depressed. I was looking at this building, and I heard someone had jumped off of it. And I'm just like, fuck. I'm not saying I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't thinking about killing myself, because I was so depressed. That wasn't even a solution. I was getting being depressed about my son and what they were going to think if I did that. And that was never an option. It was I just couldn't get out of my funk, and finally I did. And they helped me with that. The people there that worked there, the staff, the patients. I stayed there for 2 months. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. And, it's a 90-day program. I left after 2 months. My sponsor, I was a cash patient, so I didn't want to pay, the extra I'll just the extra $8,000, you know, to work because you work there too. And my sponsor thought, you know, you just need to start going to meetings and do what you're doing. And so I left, and you know, I won't pay $8,000 for another you know, month at rehab, you know. And I look back and thinking, what, you know, the money I will pay for though, for the drugs and the hotels, and, you know, having people stay with me because I don't want to be alone. And, you know, they could watch me run amok and make me do weird shit, or watch me do weird shit. And just the things I participate in when I'm on drugs is just, it's not, they're not gentlemanly. And I'm embarrassed by them. I'm embarrassed about my behavior. My closest friends know. I've told them exactly what, you know, happens, and, you know, but I'm just not proud of it. And, you know, I'll spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on that stuff. But, you know, when it comes to spending $8,000 on rehab, it's just like, you know, it's like my friend, when he used to bet sports, he'll bet $3,000 on a college football game, but he won't pay him $85 for clean his fucking house. You know, it's just the same example. You know, it's like, just the money that you spend on your addiction and the things that aren't good for you. It's amazing how you can find that money, and you can't find the few dollars for something that's really going to help you out, you know. So when I left, I had 4.5 months clean, and I was super happy. And I relapsed in December, and then I relapsed again in January, and that run lasted through February 17th. I was clean and sober until July 4th of this year, and in and out drugs. Got a 7 days clean, 6 days clean, 8 days clean, and then 41 days clean and sober today. So 45 days ago started the worst 4 days of my life. I got high at my house. I didn't want to be here because I didn't want people to find me high. I didn't want to answer to anyone. I went to a hotel room. I had people bring me drugs and, you know, hang out with me, and again, running amok and participating in ungodly, unfriendly, ungentlemanly activities to myself, and just, you know, I'll just say it, being a cunt, an asshole, a dick, a loser, and a fucking self-centered, fucking egotistical, entitled prick. Because that's what I was called by some people that found out what I was doing. And they're right. There's just no other way to cut it. They're absolutely right. You know, and it's funny, and I know my time's almost up. The entitled part, fucking, it's like, fuck you, entitled. I worked my ass off for all the money I have for 32 fucking years. How am I entitled? That's my money. My parents didn't give me anything. My parents didn't buy my house or my car. This is my money. And then I thought about it, like, because it was bugging the shit out of me. And yeah, I was entitled because I thought, because I had some money in my pocket, no matter where it came from, I can participate in these things, and it's okay because, you know, it's my money, and that's not true. You know, and I thought about that. I realized, yeah, I was entitled, you know, and I beat myself up for what happened 45 days ago for those 4 days. I'm trying to move forward and forgive myself, but I mean, if I have to be honest, there's a part that still hates myself for what I did, the way I was acting. It's embarrassing, it sucks. It's not who I want to be. It's not who I am when I'm sober and clean. But I know how I'm going to act when I get high, so I can't just hide behind the addiction. Although they're using, it's all part of the addiction and the behavior that manifests itself, even when I'm not using, if I'm not in recovery. You know, I could still, an armed robber that commits robberies under the influence of drugs, if they still commit robberies, it's not the drugs, you know. And again, I know what I'm going to do before I do it when I get high, and I still choose to do it. And, you know, I'm not going to make any promises because those don't work. You know, I just got to stay clean and sober today the best I can. I mean, it's not easy. It sucks. I mean, sometimes I sit there and fucking cry just out of nowhere. But I can't play the victim either and feel sorry for myself, because if I beat myself up and try to wipe this slate clean, then, you know, that's an excuse to go out and using it. You know, and so I know better than that. I have to move forward, you know, practice some discipline and humility, gratefulness, and stop being so fucking egotistical, and swallow that pride, and listen to people and take direction. And, you know, I'm clean and sober today. I can't promise tomorrow because tomorrow's not here yet. But hopefully I've done enough today, and I'll do enough tomorrow to make sure I get another day. And that's my story, the best I can tell it at this time after it was just 41 days.